What in the world is wrong with Ravens quarterback Lamar Jackson? Last night, Lamar Jackson had one of his worst games as an NFL starter in this league. He, the fourth straight game. Look, I'm going to start this off by saying this. This was the fourth straight game where Lamar Jackson had under 60% of his passes complete. That's the first time that this has happened in his career. And he was asked last night, hey, is it the injuries that's kind of holding you back? Like, what is it? And he said no. He completely dismissed that notion, right? Which is even more concerning when you look at the stuff that he put on tape last night. And that's what we're here to look at today. This is going to be another Ravens film study episode. Welcome in, welcome in, welcome into the Purple Rain Podcast YouTube channel. This is Quiet Storm Sports with your host, Sutton Def, where we break down all things Ravens here. So if that sounds good to you, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel as well. This should be a subscribers only chat right now. So if you do want to chat in the chat box, make sure you leave a sub here. We'd appreciate that. Again, this and so much more on this episode of Quiet Storm Sports. Yes, yes, yes. Welcome in, welcome in, welcome back. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you might be listening to this. This is Quiet Storm Sports again with your host, Sutton Def. And today we're here for another Ravens film study episode where we're going to break down some of the bad beats for one from yesterday's Bengals loss. I want to show you guys a couple of plays where the Ravens could have had some big splash plays, but they just ended up not working out. And then I want to show you the ailments, or I guess just the deficiency of the can't even talk today. The deficiencies of Lamar Jackson, excuse me, is going to be a good one. It's going to be a good one. So again, make sure you leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel as well. Shout out to everybody watching on X or listening on X. Shout out to everybody watching or listening on YouTube. Shout out to everybody watching on Kick as well. We do have a platform over there too. I am live right now. I am live, so I do want to see who's here in the live chat. I see my guy Jared in the chat. What's going on, Jared? Says salute. The Hawk TV says, Sutton, I know this will be a great episode. I'll do my best to endure the content as the game itself is something that I cannot rewatch by myself. Yes, and that is why I am here. That is why I am here, because I'm that fan too, to be honest with you, where the day after the game, I'm kind of like hungover from the loss, and I want nothing to do with Ravens football. And I know you guys probably feel that way. Slicer, what's going on, man? Good afternoon. But yeah, we're here today to kind of give you have a little therapy session, right? As Ravens fans, and even if you're not a Ravens fan watching this, and you just want to know what is going on with this Ravens offense or what is going on with Lamar Jackson, we appreciate you for coming through as well. Also, another disclaimer: before I get into the film study portion of the episode, I always give this disclaimer. I am not a coach, guys. Okay, I am just giving you a fan's perspective of what was really, really jarring to me from last night's game, and you guys can kind of take whatever you want from it. But I'm gonna walk you guys through these plays. If you do want some more in-depth, advanced analysis of what's going on with the film study, I would suggest go checking out my good buddy Sip to Tally Films, his channel. He's got a lot of good stuff going on over there. As a matter of fact, after you're done checking out this video, after you're done with this video, scroll down to the description in this very video and click on the link. Sip to Tally Films actually put out a video on Emery Jones, who actually had his first, snaps yesterday at left guard, and he was in the game. And this is something that I do want to say. I was wrong. I thought he was only in the game for like maybe 2 drives, but he had 16 total snaps, and they were kind of spaced out throughout the entire game. So if you do want to see those 16 snaps, make sure you head over to Sip to Tally Films YouTube channel. Again, the link is in the description. Blair, what's going on, man? Appreciate you for coming through. You guys are trickling in here. Rain Gang is in full effect. All right. So without any further ado, guys, let's go ahead and get into what we came here to get into. Let's check out some of what was going on in yesterday's game. So like I said, I want to start, before we get into the actual all 22 film, I want to start with some of the bad breaks yesterday. A lot of people were kind of slandering Lamar Jackson about, oh, he's been really bad. He looked the worst that he has in years. But I challenge that slightly, because there were some plays, right, where if the ball would have bounced the Ravens' way, Lamar Jackson would have 2-3 touchdowns. Number one, the offensive pass interference call on Zay Flowers, which I'm going to bring up on the screen right now. As you guys can see, this one was In the moment, it was just like egregiously bad call. I was just like, no way that they're calling that because the simple fact is this: a lot, and I mean a lot of wide receivers across the National Football League get away with that exact same push off on a weekly basis. The likes of Jamar Chase, the likes of Jackson Smith and Jigba, the likes of CD Lamb, all these guys. So a lot of the top guys get away with murder, right? But when Zay Flowers does it, barely extends, he gets flagged for it. And what I do want to say about this, because again, this should have been a touchdown. This should have been one of Lamar Jackson's touchdowns last night. The ball could have been thrown a little bit more out ahead of Zay Flowers. I saw some people saying that, hey, it was a little bit underthrown. I get it, right? But at the same time, if you're Zay Flowers, you don't even have to push off of number 20 like this. You don't have to push off of him, right? And the reason is because even if you don't push off, you already have a step on him, right? So if you do have to come back to the ball like Zay Flowers does here, he's going to run right into you. And at the very least, it's going to be pass interference on number 20, right? But instead, he extends the arm just a little bit, ever so slightly, creates a little bit of more separation, and the refs call that one offensive pass interference. It was crazy to me. Crazy to me, but that's the way it went down. I didn't agree with it in real time, but it's one of those things where I think the subjectivity of officiating really kind of reared its ugly head in this one, right? Because again, that doesn't always get called. And that's the annoying part about being a football fan. Like, this is a multi-billion-dollar company, the National Football League. Why can we not have some more consistency in calls like this? Because literally earlier in the day, CD Lamb got away with a push off, right? In this very game, Jamar Chase got away with a push off on Marlon Humphrey. Wasn't called, right? But they called this one on Zay Flowers. I didn't get it. That was just one of the bad beats. So again, my point being here is that we can't just mindlessly crap on Lamar Jackson's performance, because there were some plays like this one right here that he would have had a touchdown. Also, I don't have this one in the docket, but of course, the Isaiah Likely. I know you guys remember that one, the Isaiah Likely fumble through the end zone that ended up being a touchback. That should have been 2 touchdowns right there. And then while we're on the topic of Isaiah Likely, Isaiah Likely gets blown up on a block, and the defensive tackle gets right in Lamar Jackson's face and tips a pass that would have been a surefire touchdown to Mark Andrews, right? But instead, it gets tipped and it lands, into the linebacker's hands for an interception. So that's 3 touchdowns right there. 3 touchdowns right there that Lamar Jackson would have had, and we'd be having a totally different conversation about his performance, because the Ravens probably would have won if those plays would have went their way. Let's take a look at another bad beat in this one, another bad break. This one was the Devontez Walker drop. A beautiful route by Walker. By the way, let's pause it right there. Let me just say this. Tez Walker needs a lot more snaps. He needs way more opportunities, because this is the second week in a row where he has routed up his defender, easily stacked him, easily has 2 steps on him here. An easy 2 steps. And I believe this is Daxton Hill in coverage on this play. Let's see how this one plays out. Now, this one you could say, again, maybe Lamar Jackson could have laid it out there just a little bit further, right? So it wouldn't have given Daxton Hill an opportunity to get his hands in there and rip it out. It was really a beautiful pass breakup, right? But still, if you're Devontez Walker, you have to come down with this one, man. And think about it. If he comes down with this one, the Ravens are at the 1 yard line, the 2 yard line? That's another touchdown opportunity right there. So the Ravens had multiple opportunities in this game, and I'll spin it again. I'll let it keep going. But the Ravens had multiple opportunities in this game, to get in the end zone, get in the red zone, score points. It was just, again, like I said, bad beats. Very, very bad beats there. Almost was a beautiful catch by Devontez Walker there. Let me see what you guys are saying in the chat. If Tez works on his catching, he'll be better than Bateman. Hey, man. Bateman didn't have any catches yesterday. I believe he only had maybe 1 target, and that target was a very off throw by Lamar Jackson as well. I don't have that one queued up for the film study today, but I did see that one when I looked at the film. It just wasn't the most egregious one, and I think actually Lamar Jackson had to kind of airmail that pass to Rashad Bateman, because he had a guy in his face when he was throwing, so he kind of had to sail it a little bit, so that was why. But this play right here with Tez Walker, man, Tez, you got to make that catch. You got to come down with that one, man. Because now I'm concerned that John Harbaugh is going to throw him right back in the doghouse, right? And we're not going to see Tez Walker as much as we should. Man, you got to catch that, dog. You got to catch that. Got to catch that one, man. But just again, beautiful speed. I love his stride, man. I mean, he has a very, very long stride. Tez Walker does, and he has speed and good route running ability. He's just got to get those hands just a little bit better, just a little bit better. Tez needs more reps. It's hard to get into rhythm when you barely play. Exactly my point. We got to get this guy in rhythm. We got to get this guy more reps. It just is what it is. But okay, those were two of the really bad breaks. Of course, I talked about the Isaiah Likely fumbling. There's also, of course, the two Lamar Jackson fumbles. The one that took place when the Ravens were backed up on their own, within their own 5, right? That one was strictly on Lamar Jackson. Totally on Lamar Jackson. You got to hold on to that ball. I do understand that on that play, the right side of the offensive line just collapsed, right? Rosengarten and Daniel Falele they had no answer really for the stunts that the Bengals were running. And honestly, other teams have been running that same sort of rush against us, and it's been working. But that was the reason why there were so many guys in the backfield after Lamar Jackson. He kind of coughs it up, right? However, the second fumble, right, the controversial one, you guys know which one I'm talking about. That second fumble was bullshit to me. That's another one of those plays where it's like the subjectivity, the opinionated, right? Like the opinions of these officials, right? It just kind of depends on who you get on any given day, referee wise, because there's been guys in this very season, quarterbacks, who've made that same play and they call it an incomplete pass, right? There's guys who are literally getting sacked, like they're mid sack, and all they do is just throw the ball at the ground and they call it an incomplete pass. I mean, they barely even move their arm back, right? They just kind of spike the ball into the ground, and it's an incomplete pass. But this, Lamar Jackson's arm is clearly going forward. I understand, the tip of the ball was pointing down by the time it came out. I could care less about that. It's clear that he was in a throwing motion. The ball hit the ground. That's an incomplete pass, right? But neither here nor there. Let's go ahead and move on here. Let's go ahead and get into some of the actual film studies, some of the all 22 here that I wanted to show you guys. Before we do, let me make sure I have this queued up so I know where we're at. Make sure you guys like this video, subscribe as well if you are enjoying the content so far. But let me preface it with this, guys. Lamar Jackson is quite simply just missing throws. I think his quarterback clock is sped up, right? The Bengals were doing a really good job at sending a lot of DB blitzes after Lamar, getting fast guys off the edge to really speed up Lamar Jackson, not have him, have time to be comfortable in the pocket, right? They were doing a really good job at that. But on top of Lamar Jackson just simply missing throws, he's just not seeing the field like he normally would either. And again, a lot of that has to do with him being sped up in the pocket. So let's go ahead and take a look here. Let's see. What do we got? All right. So this is the first play I want to show you guys. This is a play where he misses Mark Andrews, right? And we'll run it back. Don't worry. We'll run it back. Let's see. So watch this. Mark Andrews on a little out route here. He's wide open, by the way. This is a throw that Lamar Jackson makes 10 times out of 10, 11 times out of 10. And he pretty much just throws it at his feet, right? Now, Mark Andrews still kind of sells out to try to catch it, and maybe he could have still caught that ball, but if you're Lamar Jackson, for damn sure, you got to put that ball on him a lot better. You got to put it directly on him, or else, you're going to get ugly incompletions like this. And this was in the second quarter. It was 1st and 10. The Ravens were winning at this point. And you're missing throws like that on 1st down. That's going to get you behind the sticks, right? That's a big reason why the Ravens were not able to win this game. They were getting behind the sticks by throwing the ball on plays like this on 1st and 10. On 1st and 10 and having incomplete passes. These are layups, by the way. Missing layup passes on 1st and 10 will kill a drive. Let's take a look at it one more time. Look at this. This is a straight up miss. He's wide open. Second play here. This one is a play where he actually misses Zay Flowers. This is one that a lot of people were talking about as well. Zay Flowers, let me see, which route does he run here? So he runs an out route himself, gets wide open, and Lamar Jackson just can't put it on him. Again, he misses him. I don't know what's going on with Lamar Jackson right now. Let's take a look at what happens in the pocket. Clean pocket, super clean pocket, wide open wide receiver, and he just misses him. Now, some of this might have to do with the fact that Zay Flowers is not the biggest receiver. He's not the tallest receiver. Maybe a taller receiver, maybe like a D Hop, right, can go up and snag that one. Maybe a Rashad Bateman, maybe a Tez Walker, right? But Zay Flowers not catching this, man. He's not catching that. He's not catching that. You got to put that one directly on him. He's wide open. There's no excuses for Lamar Jackson here, guys. No excuses. And I said on my instant reaction live stream last night, like, hey, we can't put this loss squarely on Lamar Jackson, which you cannot. You cannot. For the reasons that I showed you earlier, there were a couple of really bad beats where if they would have went the Ravens' way, we'd be talking about Lamar Jackson in a totally different light right now. But they didn't. And so you have these plays that you have to focus on now where Lamar Jackson is literally just missing layups, right? Killing drives. You can't have this stuff. Let me see here. Let's take another look. One more look at this play. Blatant miss to Zay Flowers here. Zay on the out, wide open, routine as can be. Routine as can be. Go-Man says, okay, let's show the ones that he hit. You know what, Go-Man? I'm not doing that today. I've spent a lot of time bigging up Lamar Jackson. I don't know if you were in the live stream last night, but I was making every excuse in the book for Lamar Jackson last night. So I wanted to kind of hold myself accountable for that this morning and take a look at every single pass attempt that Lamar Jackson had and see, okay, what really was the problem? Was he actually missing throws and why? So that's what we're taking a look at today. Of course, any other film study that I make, of course, the ones last week as well. I don't know if you saw that one, Go Man, but I was bigging up Lamar Jackson in that one on some great throws that he made. This week, the Ravens lose in large part because he was missing throws, and that's what we're going to highlight today. Okay? I'm not here to, just suck up to Lamar Jackson. I'm not. I got to hold him accountable. I can be your best critic or I can be your worst critic. Right? This is going to be the third play, guys. Let's take a look at this one. Let me see. So this one was also baffling to me, and this is an example of Lamar Jackson not seeing the field very well. So let's take stock of what we're looking at here. So second quarter, 9 minutes and 52 seconds left. This is 1st and 10. The Ravens are up 1 at this point, right? They're up 1. Let's see what Lamar Jackson does with this football. I believe this is going to be a deep shot to Devontez Walker. So fakes the play action. Boom. Number one, let's pause it right here. You can see Devontez Walker streaking up the field, right? However, if you look towards the bottom of your screen, and I know there's the vignette around it. I got to do that for copyright purposes, guys. But if you look around the 40-yard line on the right side of the screen, you have Keaton Mitchell wide open, right? And as we know, Keaton Mitchell is a guy who, when you get out in space, he can make a guy miss. Not only can he do that, but he can run directly by guys as well. And look at all this green grass that Keaton Mitchell has. And Lamar Jackson just doesn't see him. He just doesn't see him. And this is what I mean by he's not seeing the field very well, right? And when you're up, you're literally winning in the game. You don't need to go deep here on a contested deep ball to Devontez Walker. Let's continue to see what happens in this play. Oh, by the way, this is not open. If you guys can see that on the far left-hand side of your screen, Tez is not very open. He's not very open right here. Not very open at all. Goldman says that should have been his first read, Keaton Mitchell. That's my point. I don't think that Lamar Jackson saw the field very well at all last night. At all. So instead, he forces this deep ball to Devontez Walker that Tez almost catches. He almost catches it. His defender ends up falling down, right? But the ball ends up going right off of Devontez Walker's fingertips. But my point is, just take the safe. Oh my gosh, man. It's irritating me even just like talking through it with you guys right now. Just take the safe route right here. Look at this option. Let's look at it one more time. He fakes the play action to Keaton Mitchell. Keaton Mitchell is in the flat, wide open. I mean, the closest Bengals defender to Keaton Mitchell on this play was at least 10 yards off of him, the guy around the 50 there. That was the closest defender to Keaton Mitchell. I'm taking Keaton Mitchell all day, every day. All day, every day. And this is not even necessarily the check down, to be honest with you. Like that's an actual route. I mean, he just runs out into the flat. He's wide open. Just get him the football and let him do the rest. Right? You didn't need this desperation deep ball to Devontez Walker. It was just an ill-advised throw. Again, Tez Walker is barely even open. I can only imagine if the DB did not fall down. This is my point, guys. I mean, he was not seeing the field very well at all. Not seeing it well at all. There's no excuse for this. There's no excuse for that. Speaking of Keaton Mitchell, this next play is also going to feature Keaton Mitchell. This is going to come on a little swing pass here. You see Keaton Mitchell motions out left, and Lamar Jackson just kind of lazily throws this football to Keaton. Let's run it back. Look, barely any bounce in a step, anything like that. He literally just takes the snap, takes, 2 steps back, and just kind of floats it a little bit and floats it short to Keaton Mitchell. Are you guys seeing the same things I'm seeing right now? This is very uncharacteristic from Lamar Jackson. Like, what is this? Lazily throws it, ends up going right at Keaton Mitchell's feet. Right? Like, he's just off. He's just off. Let's take a look at it one more time. One more time. It's these very routine throws, guys. And that's kind of what concerns me the most. Because again, like I said at the beginning of the episode, Lamar Jackson has said that, the injuries aren't hindering him from performing. Right. And maybe a lot of that is just media speak because he can't really say like, oh yeah, like I'm hurt and that's why I'm not, you know what I mean? He can't really say that. But again, man, I mean, these are plays that we're used to Lamar Jackson making 11 times out of 10. 11 times out of 10. Watch it again. Just a lazy throw. This is on 1st and 10. Again, this is the problem. This is in the third quarter. The Ravens were down 19-7 at this point. The Ravens throw a lot on first. Well, they threw a bunch of times on first down in this game. And too often were there incomplete passes, ill-advised throws, bad throws from Lamar Jackson that put the Ravens behind the 6 because now you're at 2nd and 10, right? The Bengals have their entire defensive playbook open. I mean, they are pinning their ears back. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, you cannot miss those. You cannot miss those. You got to tighten up. Got to tighten up. Let's take a look at another one, though. Let's take a look at another one. So that was a lazy throw by Lamar Jackson. This was probably the worst one, in my opinion. This was the worst one. I need you guys to pay attention. If you're listening right now, but you're not really watching, I need you to watch. I need you to watch what happens on this play. Okay? On this play here, you are going to get a blitz from the bottom side of the screen here. You got a bunch of DBs here crowding the line of scrimmage. So it's quite obvious where the blitz is coming from on this play. At least 2 of those DBs are going to be rushing at Lamar here. And what do coaches always teach when the blitz is clearly coming from one side on a passing play, right? Where do you want to throw the football? You want to throw the football into the blitz, right? Because if they're sending guys from that bottom side, that means that side of the field is going to be open. And watch what happens. I'm going to freeze frame it. Watch this. So you do get 2 of the DBs blitzing. I think actually all 3 of them blitz. Mark Andrews, he starts off blocking for a half a second, then he uncovers. And I want you to watch this. This is actually in the thumbnail for this very video. Look at Mark Andrews. Mark Andrews is wide butt naked open. And you can see he's got both arms in the air. Like, please throw me the football. I am wide open. I could literally walk into the maybe not a touchdown scored on here, but let it develop a little bit more. Let's let it develop a little bit more and see for yourself. Right here. If you get that ball on Mark Andrews, this is at least at the bare minimum a 30-yard gain. At the bare minimum a 30-yard gain. Maybe even a touchdown. There's nobody near him, but Lamar doesn't see him, right? And my question is, how do you not know that, number one, the blitz is coming from that side. And number two, since the blitz is coming from that side, you need to be able to throw into the void. And Mark Andrews is right there, literally screaming, like, hey, I'm open. Please dump it off to me. I'm right here. Let's see what happens. You can see after the play, because I think Lamar went deep here. I think Lamar went deep there. Let me see. Let's take a look at it one more time. Yeah. Lamar goes deep over the middle, which wasn't really open either. It wasn't really open. Take another look. Look how wide open Mark Andrews was on this play. And I even noticed he was so wide open, I noticed it on the broadcast angle in real time when I watched the game last night. You know, and this is where I used to say this a lot last season, right? Lamar Jackson, to me, he plays the game of football like a Madden player personified. And what do I mean by that? So when you're playing the game of Madden, right, and you have the choice between a boring check down and a deep ball over the middle, 9 times out of 10, for that entertainment value, that dopamine hit that you get when you play Madden, you're going to go deep, because why not, right? Lamar Jackson is like that same type of player where like he wants it all. He wants the big chunk play. However, the smart play, the right play is right there. It may not be the sexiest thing to dump it off to Mark Andrews right there, but it sure could turn into a sexy play. I mean, again, you guys see it. You see how wide open Mark Andrews is on this play, to the point where when Lamar Jackson throws it over the middle, Mark Andrews, he's upset. He's visibly upset. He's pissed. He's like, bro, I was wide open. I could have walked in. I could have jogged in for a touchdown. Take a look. Again, blocks for a second, uncovers. But Lamar has his eyes glued down the field, trying to get it all back in one play. I don't get that. I don't get that. That is not smart football. That is not smart football. That is not sound football. And I get it here. I mean, you're down 2 possessions, sure. But, I mean, that was a surefire first down. Again, this is on 3rd and 8, as you guys can see up top. This is on 3rd and 8. You have to keep the offense on the field. And that was the easiest. The easiest. Lamar doesn't like checkdowns. He doesn't trust long drives. I mean, that's an issue. That's an issue then, right? That's a big issue. So that was probably the most jarring, scene to me. That was the most jarring play to me, where Lamar Jackson just did not see the field very well at all, and he misses Mark Andrews here. I got one more play I want to show you. One more play. This play right here it's a good play. This is a completion, right? So go, man. I don't know if you're still in the chat, but this was actually a completion. He hit this one, and it begs the question to me. This was a back shoulder throw to DeAndre Hopkins at the top of your screen here for about 15 yards, something like that. Steve Loop, I see you in the chat. What's going on, brother? Appreciate you for coming through. But my question is this: why do we not use DeAndre Hopkins more often? And here, riddle me this. Watch the play. Again, top of your screen, D-Hop, back shoulder throw. Perfect throw by Lamar Jackson here. Beautiful throw. How many times, number one, first question, how many times this season have you seen DeAndre Hopkins make that exact same catch, that exact same play, in high leverage situations at that? That's the first question. And, think about it. It's happened at least 4 or 5 times, right? A good amount of times. Second question for you. What other receiver currently on this Ravens team do you have as much confidence in catching a ball like that? Especially, again, in a high leverage scenario. I'll wait. Because I'll tell you right now, I don't think any other receiver on this team is consistently making that catch. Killer Cam says it for me here. Nobody. So it begs the question again, why are we not utilizing DeAndre Hopkins more? I mean, if he's one-on-one, I'm trusting DeAndre Hopkins. He's probably one of the better 50-50 ball catch artists still in this league today. I mean, hell, that's what he was known for his career. Why are we not using him to his strength more often? Why do we not have more plays drawn up for him to get us down the field? Again, I'll show you guys the play one more time. I'll show you one more time. Nobody else, no other receiver is making this play. Top of your screen, back shoulder, perfect timing. DeAndre Hopkins gets that easy, 9 times out of 10. 9 times out of 10. Killer Cam says that's why we need to stop drafting these little receivers. Bro, this is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. I've been saying this for years now. But for some reason, the Ravens love the little guys at wide receiver. I really don't want to have to come in here and sit up here and slander Zay Flowers. I really don't want to have to do that. I know I crashed out last night. If you didn't see my instant reaction, it was, yeah, I was upset. I was very angry. And I crashed out a little bit on Zay Flowers because that fumble was just so fresh in my mind, right? However, I do think that going forward, the drafting philosophy when it comes to wide receivers has to change. I don't care if these guys are from Florida and Lamar Jackson likes them and adores them and just wants them to be in the same locker room. I don't care about that. Go get a 6'2", 6'3", huge catch radius kind of receiver. That is what Lamar Jackson needs. You know what I mean? If you can get somebody like this, bro, guys, it's really troubling me right now. It's really troubling me right now because again, I want to look at it one more time. Go get a guy who can make this play. Because guess what? D-Hop is on a 1-year deal. He's going to be gone by next year. You need a guy who can make that play. Is it Tez Walker? I don't know. I'll let these run through one more time while I continue talking. Again, this is just a rerun of what we've all seen. Again, misses by Lamar Jackson, inaccurate throws, throwing it to the wrong receiver, not seeing the open guy. This is what's wrong with Lamar Jackson. You know? And as far as the deep balls, as far as the deep passes, I do think that Lamar's deep ball accuracy is affected by the injuries, right? Because when you throw a deep ball, well, when you throw any football, right? Short, intermediate, deep, you generate the power for your throw from your base, right? And as we know, Lamar Jackson's base is pretty fucked up right now. Excuse my language. You know, he's got a hamstring, he's got a knee, he's got an ankle, and he's got a toe that he's dealing with. All of which are things that you need to use to generate torque and power when throwing the football. So his deep throw accuracy, I mean, hasn't been the greatest. It's honestly looked kind of like how it looked earlier in his career, right? Before he developed as a great passer. These injuries are making him look like early NFL Lamar. It's making him look like 2018 to 2020 Lamar, where he had some serious throwing mechanic issues. So the game plan nowadays is to make Lamar Jackson beat you from the pocket, which it seems so offensive, right? It seems so offensive for the past 2 years for people to say that, but now that's the strategy. Speed up his clock, as you guys can see. There are plays on this one, like that play right there that you guys just saw, where he misses Mark Andrews. They're sending DBs after Lamar Jackson, and he's not reading it fast enough. Like, why would you make that throw? Mark Andrews is wide open. I just don't get it, guys. I just don't get it. Lamar's really never had good mechanics. He's never had the best mechanics in the league, I'll say that. But his mechanics have improved since his rookie season. His mechanics have undoubtedly improved since his rookie year. I'll say that. You know. But yeah, guys, that's really what I wanted to show you guys in this episode of the show. What's wrong with Lamar Jackson? Well, there's a couple of things. You know, he's not as electric as a runner as we're used to seeing. That's number one. Number two, defenses are speeding up his clock by sending extra pressure at him and making him get the ball out fast and making him make quick decisions. And sometimes he doesn't make the right decision. So this is one of those things where Lamar Jackson is going to have to look at this tape and say, okay, I've got to take my outlets. I got to take exactly what the defense gives me. I'm not going to be able to take what I want at all times, if that makes sense, right? Because Lamar Jackson is the type of player where he's so athletic and he's so electric. When he's healthy, he can get whatever he wants. You guys remember the scramble drill play yesterday where he scrambles around a little bit and he ends up finding Isaiah Likely for a big gain. Not the touchdown one where he ends up fumbling, but you guys know what I'm talking about. He scrambled around, hit Likely for maybe like a 20-yard gain. It was a big game. It was a big game. That's like vintage Lamar right there. That's Lamar taking what he wants, right? But now with the way that this offensive line is performing, and I haven't talked about them, but with the way that this offensive line is performing, and the way that he's hurt, right, and not able to take off and run and really just make guys miss at a moment's notice, he's got to start taking what the defense gives him more often, right? And there are plays in here, all throughout here, as you guys can see right now. There are plays in there where he did not take what the defense gave him. So, it is what it is. It's unfortunate that the Ravens dropped that game. That game was there to be had in multiple moments. Again, I still do think that there were some bad beats. There were some bad beats. Again, the Devontez Walker drop, that should have been a catch. That should have been a big gain, set the Ravens up at the 1-yard line, 2-yard line, something like that. The Zay offensive pass interference call, which was soft to me, very soft to me. It's one of those things where depends on the ref and how he's feeling, because you can see the exact same thing happen on the other side of the field and not call it. So, it just is what it is. It's one of those things, man. I mean, the Ravens have a lot of soul searching to do. You really can only afford one more loss on the season, right? That's the crazy thing. You can really only afford one more loss in the season, and that game against the Bengals was one that you absolutely had to have, right? Because now you've got the Steelers, who have a better defense than the Bengals, by the way. So that's still going to be a stiff test. It's at home, but it's going to be a stiff test. And then you got the Bengals again. You got the Bengals in Cincinnati. They're going to have T. Higgins back. They're probably going to have Trey Hendrickson back, right? And that's going to be even tougher than last night's game. And then after that, you've got the Patriots, who I think are the number one seed in the AFC right now, flying high, 10-game winning streak, something crazy like that. Then after that, you got the Packers, who looked good yesterday against the Lions. They're trying to make some noise in the NFC. Then you got the Steelers again. So losing that game to the Bengals yesterday was more catastrophic than I think a lot of Ravens fans are giving credit for. Because you needed that game, right? Just in case you do drop one to the Patriots. Just in case you do drop one to the Steelers or the Packers, right? You got to beat the teams you're supposed to beat. Last night we didn't do it, and right now we're in a very, very tough spot. The Ravens are currently at a 53% chance at winning the AFC North. Basically meaning the Ravens have a 53% chance of making the playoffs, because I don't foresee them getting a wild card spot. You're going to have to win this division. Point blank, period. So hopefully the Pittsburgh Steelers will lose to the Buffalo Bills this week. Hopefully the Ravens can beat the Steelers next week. And then hopefully, again, a lot of hoping here, the Steelers will lose to the Detroit Lions, because they do play them as well. Let me see some of what you guys are saying here in the chat before we close up shop here on this episode. Again, appreciate y'all for coming through. Make sure you leave a like on the video if you're enjoying the content. Also subscribe to the channel as well if you're enjoying it. Henry was eating in the run and in the pass. That's another thing. Cam, you bring up a good point. Abandon the run last night. Derrick Henry only 10 rushes, averaging 6 yards a carry. He had the play fake where he leaks out into space and he catches the ball over the middle. He had another big play with that yesterday, and maybe that's something that the Ravens can build off of. But you got to utilize Derrick Henry. Ronnie Stanley said it himself too after the game. Somebody was interviewing him and saying like, hey, like, would you guys tell the coaches like, hey, like, yeah, we should probably start running the football more? And Ronnie Stanley said in so many words, like, yeah, it's all about the collaboration, and I think that needs to be our identity. The only 2 touchdowns that were scored yesterday came on running plays. Derrick Henry had a rushing touchdown. Keaton Mitchell had a rushing touchdown. No more touchdowns were scored. Yet, I mean, instead of, I think Rasheen Ali outsnapped Derrick Henry. And Keaton Mitchell? Like, what is that? What is that? I don't understand. Slicer says you can look at Rashad Bateman's body language, running up and down the field and not getting looked at. Hell, I'd be frustrated too. Yeah, it doesn't really feel like Bateman is fighting for the ball. It doesn't really seem like he's fighting through contact. It doesn't really seem like, again, Lamar Jackson is looking his way all that much. We don't have Bateman in any sort of rhythm. Rashad has no rhythm right now. And Ali wasn't that good in pass pro. Yeah. Yeah. Let me see. Just stupid coaching, not leaning on Henry. Facts, bro. Facts. D Bank says seeing Rasheen Ali on the field at any point gets me pissed, bro. Even garbage time. Yeah, bro, because you just have like Keaton Mitchell and Derrick Henry are just so much better weapons, right, to threaten the defense with than a Rasheen Ali. And credits to Rasheen Ali. I think he's a fine player. But what you saw from Keaton Mitchell running by guys last night, what you saw from Derrick Henry making something out of nothing, I mean, that deserves more reps, man. That deserves more plays. Let me see. Clearly, Lamar is injured. Don't kick Lamar while he is down. We need the run game. Lean on the Hall of Fame running back. Not kicking anybody. Just telling the truth. Just telling the truth, man. That's what I'm here to do. Let me see. Dante says when Derrick Henry is rolling early, feed him more and then go play action. Damn right. Damn right. The play calling was a little questionable yesterday, from Todd Monken. I definitely do think that you have to lean more on Derrick Henry. Let's talk about the offensive line really quick. I want to just talk about Emery Jones and what I saw from him. Again, like I said, Coach Sip Tally Films, he put out a video on Emery Jones earlier today. That is linked in the description if you want to check that out after this. But I thought that Emery Jones, in my personal assessment, I thought he looked fine. I thought he looked just fine. They were kind of rotating him out, him and Andrew Voorhees throughout the game. And when Emery Jones was in there, he made some good blocks. There was one play where he ended up on the ground. That wasn't good to see. Of course, he did have that one hold, which you can easily coach that out of him. I have no concerns about that at all. That can be coached out of him. And then there were a couple plays in pass protection where he held his own one-on-one. A couple plays in the running game where he got up to the second level and he looked pretty good. There was one play where Tyler Linderbaum actually made Emery Jones look really bad on a run play. I've said this before. Tyler Linderbaum, he struggles with big and tall nose tackles. They're able to just kind of swim him out of the way and immediately get in the backfield. There was a play where the nose tackle literally is in the backfield. Like he gets right by Tyler Linderbaum and he's in the backfield before Derrick Henry even gets the ball from Lamar Jackson. It was bad. And Emery Jones kind of had to help make up for that instead of sticking on his guy. So overall, I thought Emery Jones did well. It was encouraging to see that this Ravens coaching staff weren't stubborn, and just blindly kept Andrew Voorhees out there. And they said, we're going to give the young kids a chance, right? Our third round pick, who you should give a chance, they gave him a chance last night. So I do expect going forward to see more of Emery Jones. I do. And I'm excited for that. Can't wait. What else we got in here? Andre says, I wouldn't say Lamar Jackson regressed, but Roger Rosengard has for sure. Yeah, I mean, in terms of the Lamar Jackson regressing thing, it's just it's the decision making for me. I feel like he has not adapted to being the player that he needs to be this year, if that makes sense. I feel like for the entirety of his career, for the majority of his career at least, right, he's relied so heavily on his legs, and not just for running, you know what I mean, but for being able to slide around the pocket, manipulate the pocket, buy time, find the open man. He's been so good at that and literally taking whatever he wants from the defense. But now he's in a place where he cannot run as much and he has to take what the defense gives him. And I feel like he's having a little bit of a hard time doing that right now. So something to definitely think about, if you're the coaches, if you're T. Martin, the quarterback coach, I'm having a sit-down one-on-one conversation with Lamar Jackson today and saying, hey, like, we got to adjust our play style just a little bit. Just a little bit. If we want a shot at going anywhere, making any noise in the playoffs, or even making the playoffs this season, we're going to have to start taking what the defense gives us just a little bit more. And Todd Monken, we're going to have to give Derrick Henry the ball a lot more. Definitely more than 10 times. Definitely more than 10 times. Alaskan Man says, I mean, Lamar's teammates are dropping passes, fumbling. O-line can't block a horrible pass rush, so there you go. Yeah, that's what I said earlier. I mean, some bad beats. Tez had that drop. Of course, Zay Flowers had that fumble at the end of the game where it was kind of already garbage time. I don't think that the Ravens were going to come back, but that was the last ditch effort, right? That was the last hope that the Ravens had in that game. Let me see. Go Man says, I'd rather beat Cincinnati with Higgins and Trey back. I mean, that's what we're going to have to do. That's what we're going to have to do. But, all right, guys. I don't want to hold you guys too long on this episode of the show. It's already 45 minutes in. Damn, I didn't even realize we were going that long. Time flies when you're having fun. Appreciate you guys for coming through. Make sure you leave a like on this video if you're watching on YouTube. Subscribe on YouTube as well. If you're listening or watching on X, make sure you give me a follow on X at Sutton Def right here. And again, I'll wrap it with this, guys. I think that this Ravens season is still salvageable. It's still salvageable, but it's going to take, I think, number one, leaning heavily on Derrick Henry, especially going into these cold weather games. It's going to be important to lean on Derrick Henry. He heats up as it gets colder. Derrick Henry does. So 10 carries in a game, unacceptable. That's got to change. Number two, I do want to see more of Emery Jones. We have to get him in a rhythm. You know, I would like to see him take over the starting left guard position for Andrew Voorhees. Number three, Lamar Jackson's got to start taking what the defense gives him. Right now, it doesn't really seem like he's doing that at the clip that he should. Those three things right there, I think. And I'm just, you know, obviously I'm just talking about the offense here. The defense, I feel like, you know, when you turn the ball over 5 times, there's only but so much your defense is going to be able to do, right? One thing I do have to say about the defense before I get out of here is that, you know, we got to start getting pressure with 4 more often. We cannot continue to send DBs after the quarterback, because guess what happens? When you send DBs on a blitz after a quarterback, all that's going to happen is you're going to sacrifice your back end. Guys are going to be open quicker, and that's exactly what happened. And if you have a competent quarterback like a Joe Burrow who can throw with a little bit of anticipation, unlike maybe a Shedeur Sanders, right? Unlike maybe a Tyrod Taylor, they're gonna eat you up. They're gonna eat you alive. You know, Marlon Humphrey was the Ravens' best pass rusher last night, had a sack. He was the highest graded pass rusher. As a matter of fact, the top 4 graded pass rushers from last night's game, 3 of them were DBs. That's unacceptable. Somebody has got to get pressure on the quarterback, and I'm not talking about the defensive backs. Because I promise you, Aaron Rodgers is going to eat that up. I promise you, Drake May is going to eat that up. Jordan Love, Joe Burrow, when we see him again, the defense got to make some adjustments too now. So again, I'll leave it at that. I appreciate you guys for coming through. Don't forget to join the Rain Gang by liking and subscribing. We appreciate you guys here at the Purple Rain Podcast YouTube channel for supporting all you guys do for us. We love you. We thank you. All of our members, all the likes, all the subscriptions, all the memberships. We appreciate y'all. Again, my name is Sutton Def. You can find me on Twitter or Instagram at Sutton Def. Remember to stay positive, test negative, and never, ever, ever forget, even on the rainiest of days, to call God. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.